The Crown is back! The cast has changed and we're now in the 1990s. Season 5 has arrived.
In light of the events of the last 12 months, perhaps I have more to reflect on than most.
Hello and welcome to Screen OD, the channel for people who love TV, movies and streaming. My name's Tim. I'm an editor and a journalist who's been writing and talking about the media industry for more than 15 years. And today we are talking about The Crown Season 5. Now, of course, you'll know that The Crown is one of the biggest TV shows across the globe. Since 2016, when Peter Morgan's series first launched on Netflix, it has become one of the most important originals for the streaming service and one of their most talked about shows. I think if you take Stranger Things out of the equation, it's probably up there as one of the most anticipated shows for a new season. It's season 5 now, and that's an odd number, which means that we've got a whole new cast of people in the show. If you want to learn more about that cast, you can go and watch this video here, which has all the details of the new cast members and the characters that they play. But let's talk about the season and whether or not you should watch it.
The royal family is in genuine crisis.
Have royal scandals damaged the country's reputation?
The House of Windsor should be binding the nation together, setting an example of idealized family life. It's a situation that cannot help but affect the stability of the country.
Now we have come a long way in The Crown since season 1 when Claire Foy played the Queen opposite Matt Smith. Of course, we saw a cast change in season 3 with Olivia Colman entering the fray as the Queen in this fictionalised account of Queen Elizabeth II's reign, and at the time Tobias Menzies playing the Duke of Edinburgh. Now in season 5 we have Imelda Staunton as the Queen and Jonathan Pryce opposite her. This is a show that has to, by its nature, by the way that it's been set up, continue to reinvent itself. And just as the reign of Queen Elizabeth II was one that went through many different waves and phases, this show also has to do it.
For years I've called for a more modern monarchy that reflects the world outside.
I don't think it's my behaviour that's threatening its survival. You, as future king, have a duty.
Season 5 of the show is not just about a cast change. It's about a change in mood for the show, and it's also about a change in focus for The Crown. As we've seen in the clips, the early 1990s was a time when the royal family wasn't really having a great time. There was divorce going on. There were crises of confidence, essentially, in whether or not the royal family felt that it was in touch with the people that it was there to represent. And there was also a focus change where the Queen, as she grew older and became an elder statesperson in the world, was still very much at the heart of the royal family, but there were younger royals starting to emerge. There were things going on that were changing the way that people saw the royal family. And that is crystallised by the emergence of the importance of Princess Diana in the 1990s, of course, during and then after the divorce from the Prince of Wales. And that is where the focus of season 5 changes in The Crown. As much as it's still very important that the Queen is there at the centre of this story, we start to see other people, especially Diana and Charles's story, really come to the fore.
People will never understand how it's really been for me. I never stood a chance.
And so, as you might expect, season 5 is one that is concerned a lot with the story of Charles and Diana, Charles and Camilla, Charles, Camilla and Diana, and then of course Diana on her own. And I think a lot of this is crystallised by the recreation of the now infamous interview between Martin Bashir and Princess Diana, one that the BBC have said that they won't show again, but Netflix have recreated, which I think will be uncomfortable for a lot of people to watch. And quite a lot of the parts around Diana, especially as things start to spiral and it's clear that the portrayal of her is of someone who is struggling at times with what is going on around them, it's difficult to watch. It's uncomfortable.
She's at breaking point because of the way she feels she's been treated. They see her as a threat.
And for the actors playing the parts in season 5, this feels like the hardest challenge yet in the making of The Crown, because these events are so close to now. The 1990s is in living memory of much of the audience who will watch this show. They remember the things that are being portrayed on the screen, and therefore to be the characters at the ages that they are now, people have much more of a vision of what they expect from them and how they expect them to work. And that's not in any way to detract from the people who've played the characters in the past. There's been some very fine performances in The Crown, but just really to highlight how good some of the performances in season 5 are under this slightly bigger microscope of scrutiny of modernity. And I think the two people who really come through as being impressive on that front are Dominic West, who is the new person playing the Prince of Wales. He brings this really good mix of someone who is obviously part of the establishment, but also kind of wants to break away from it in certain ways and do things his own way and do things differently, you know, and he's also you see some humanity in this character, which is portrayed very well. This is someone who loves and lives as well as is a royal. And I think the shining star of the whole series is Elizabeth Debicki, who plays Princess Diana. And the way that she does it is, well, quite frankly, remarkable. Her screen presence is that you would expect from Princess Diana, someone who won over the hearts of swathes of the nation by being herself. That's a pretty difficult act to follow. That's a very hard person to play, especially at the peak of her vulnerabilities, but also the peak of her powers as what people would describe as the people's princess. This is a really fine performance from Debicki. She has the mannerisms right, the way that she talks, but also captures an essence, which you'll see when you watch the series is something that is certainly not easy to do and is done incredibly, incredibly well.
Remember the one condition, the one rule. You remain loyal to this family.
Who is silent?
Yes, it's a system. For better or for worse. We're all stuck in it.
Now, there was, before this show even came out for season 5, a lot of controversy around it. I think that is driven by the fact that it's got closer and closer to real events. And I think that's been amplified even more by the fact that this is the year that the real Queen Elizabeth II died. And there's been a huge outpouring of emotion across the country and across the world for someone who served as sovereign for more than 70 years in this country. Now, The Crown, as Peter Morgan, its creator, has always said, is intended to be a drama. And as Netflix have doubled down on this idea recently, saying this is a fictional dramatisation inspired by real events. Now, I think it's fair to say that a lot of viewers won't know the difference between where the bits are that are based on real events and the bits that are fictionalized. And it is very difficult because the lines are very blurred, because these are real people's names and these are real events that people remember. So where that all comes together, it's very difficult to say. And how historically accurate and how well portrayed everyone is, well, I think that's a debate for another day. As a piece of drama, this is a TV show that is essentially a kind of high-end soap opera. It brings together incredible stories, incredible characters, and because it has the hook of the royal family, the most famous family in the world, it continues to be incredibly compelling viewing. The writing is sharp, the production values, as always, are beautiful. It brings alive the palaces, the crowds, the people, but also takes us to those darker moments, to those moments of humanity in the royal family that draw us closer to those characters. And season 5 does all of that and more. It's a really well-made show.
It feels it's all about to erupt.
She opens her mouth and hand grenades come out. She wants to tear down the temple.
Let's go for it.
What the hell is she doing?
I won't go quietly. I'll battle till the end.
I don't think there's any doubt that controversy will continue to surround this series in general, and this season particularly, now that it's out. However, I think if you like The Crown, and I think if you've watched it from the beginning in 2016 and you've invested 7 years into the 4 seasons that have already been out, and you've watched the cast changes from Claire Foy through to Olivia Colman and now to Imelda Staunton, you're going to enjoy this season. It's got what you want. It's got more of the same. And as I say, the focus begins to change, but at the heart of it is the same show with the same gripping storyline. So if you like The Crown, I think you should go and watch season 5 of The Crown.
Our glories belong to the past, and the world will move on, and we'll be left with nothing.
How did it come to this?
The Crown Season 5 and all of the seasons of The Crown are available to watch now on Netflix. Thanks so much for watching Screen OD. We'll see you again very soon for more videos.